September 9th, September 8th, isn't it today? 2021 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Please make sure your phones are silenced and cease private conversations. I'd like to remind the members to lean forward and speak clearly so the microphone can pick up your comments. And we'll begin by having our members introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Shahab Imrani.
Keenan Kinsel.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Terry Nowitzki.
Festus Probeni.
Caitlin Jammo.
Frank Hibbard.
Mark Bunker.
Okay, we'll go on to item number 2. So we're looking at the minutes of the August 4th, 2021 meeting. Are there any corrections being requested to the minutes? Okay, I'd like a motion to adopt the minutes of the August 4th meeting.
Motion to adopt.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have Terry and seconded by our man Keenan here. Okay, is there any discussion on the minutes? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay, now the next item is citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. Comments are limited to matters relevant to the DDB district. Comment on items on the agenda will be held until the agenda item is called. Speakers must identify themselves clearly for the record, and the time limit of 3 minutes will be enforced. Are there any citizens to be heard today? Very good. We'll move on to new business. Item 4.1, the first public millage hearing and reading of resolution 21-04. And if you could help us with that.
Sure. Ask God's good evening, Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. This is the first public hearing you have for the adoption of your millage and resolution. You'll have your second hearing will be next Wednesday, September 15th. I do want to apologize. I did notice this afternoon there was an error on the number of the resolution. So you have, I've provided each of you with a change. So your first resolution is for your millage, which you adopted a tentative millage of 0.9700 mils at your July 14th meeting. And with your approval, we'd like for you to adopt your resolution of 21-04.
Very good. Are there any board questions regarding this resolution? All right, are there any citizen comments? All right. I'm looking for a motion to adopt resolution 21-04.
You'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 21-04, sorry.
Okay, that's Festus. Do we have a second? Shahab seconds. Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. It is unanimous. Okay, and Ann, if you could take item 4.2.
Sure. So 4-2, this is to adopt your budget for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. Same thing, there was a typo on this one with the resolution numbers, so this resolution will be for 2021-05, which will be to adopt your final budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022.
Okay, and I have a question myself. I see the number of the budget. It's a very large number. That's not an error? On the budget resolution?
Nope, that's correct.
Wow. We're going into the big time.
So what
All right.
we did when we adopted your budget in August, we actually brought in what we thought would be a good number of your unallocated funding. So
Okay.
that's why your number has increased.
Okay.
We brought in $243,000 of
Okay.
unallocated funding for this
So
year.
there's a noticeable increase in the number. Okay, are there any other board questions?
This is
Any-
a one-time, correct?
No, it's
The
there.
addition,
Yeah.
No, it'll be every year until there's no,
Till it's spent?
until it's all spent. So our anticipation is that every year when we do your budget, we will bring forward some amount of unallocated funding. It won't remain.
That number is one time.
Yes, this number is one time, and next year it could be less. It all depends on what your unallocated funding balance is.
Thank you.
Any other board questions? All right, any citizen comments? All right, I'm looking for a motion to adopt Resolution 21-05. Can you state it? You have to state it for the
Sure.
record.
I propose resolution 2105 to be adopted.
Very good. Do we have a second? Caitlin's first. Okay, so Shahab makes the motion, Caitlin seconds. Is there any additional board discussion on this resolution? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Moving briskly, the July 2021 financial statement. Ann, can you also brief us on that?
Sure. Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. Your funds spent for July of 2021 were $13,805.87, with an ending balance of $438,161.81, and your expenditures are highlighted in your agenda item.
Very good. Are there any board questions on this item? All right, any citizen comments? All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve the July 2021 financial statement for filing.
Motion to approve July 2021 financial statement.
Okay, Caitlin makes the motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Terry seconds. Okay, is there any additional discussion on this point? Very good. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we're on item 4.4. We want to review the request for $18,465 to fund the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority's, the PSTA's, Jolly Trolley Coastal Route for fiscal year 2021-2022 as outlined in Amendment 2 of the executed agreement between PSTA and the Downtown Development Board. Howard, you can take the lead on this.
Cleveland Board, Howard Smith, CRA Business Assistant Administrator. The purpose of this item is to request approval of $18,465 to fund the Jolly Trolley Coastal Route operated by Pinellas, Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, PSTA, for fiscal year 21-22. The Downtown Development Board adopted a multi-year agreement with PSTA on December 21st of 2018 to support their operating costs of providing transit services along the Pinellas the coast of Pinellas County. The current agreement includes a 5% annual escalation of the base services cost and will end in September of 2022. Approval of this item will authorize staff to issue grant payments in accordance with the executed agreement. The Jolly Trolley Coast Route connects riders to the downtown Clearwater and Clearwater Beach, along with other Pinellas destinations. This services meets the downtown revitalization goal by providing additional low-cost transportation choices to connect tourists and Pinellas County residents to downtown. And in this, we did attach items in terms of like the executed amendment, also an updated PST operations overview from the past year, which we have Cassandra Brochure here from PSTA to answer any questions that you as board members may have. Funds for this grant are available in the Jolly Trolley Downtown Loop item in the business assistant category of the DDB's budget for fiscal year 22-21. And with that, I will turn it over to Cassandra Brochure for any questions that you may have. And Cassandra, and I'll pull up your presentation right quick. Maybe I will. Here we go. So yeah, both of them here, so you can just open up your one. You want to start with the presentation? Okay, there you go.
Welcome, Cassandra.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Chair, Mayor, staff is always gracious and wonderful. I really do appreciate working with them. They're very detailed and ask me lots of really good questions about this contract and the service that we provide to you through the Jolly Trolley Coastal Route. As you know, the DDB has been a great partner in the performance of this route, both when it started as a 3-day service in partnership with the city of Dunedin, the city of Tarpon Springs, and Pinellas County. And we continue to enjoy that partnership as we have converted that to a 7-day service over the years. And even though we've had a rough year over the last year, we still have some good news for you.
Oh, good.
So I'd just like to go over a little bit. So let's see. Oh, it's just a PDF. Okay. Just to overview the entire Jolly Trolley system that we partner with to Clearwater Beach. We have our North Beach route, which stays on the beach, which includes going up Mandalay and to up Island Way. We also have our South Beach route, which connects from downtown down to Sand Key, and the coastal route, of which you are partners, which operates from Tarpon Springs to downtown and then over to the beach. We were very excited when we added the addition of the Clearwater Beach Transit Center that was in partnership with the city of Clearwater in order to make a better connection into the beach from downtown. I think that's been very successful to connect in with not only the Jolly Trolley system, but our own Suncoast Beach Trolley, which goes all the way down to St. Pete Beach. So just for those of you who are new to the DDB, I included a little history of how we got to where we are. As I mentioned, we started this as a 3-day service partnership, Friday through Sunday, and it was very successful. And we were able to consolidate our Route 66, which is a PSTA route, and make those two routes work together in order to provide 7-day-a-week service that is operated by the Jolly Trolley for PSTA. As you can see, we also included that Clearwater Beach North Transit Center, which has been very helpful to make transitions out at the beach and connect people from downtown and back and forth from the beach. This gave us a 1-seat ride, which allowed people to come in and enjoy downtown, but also be able to have a lot of options, not just the Jolly Trolley South route and the Suncoast Beach Trolley, but also this coastal route to connect to downtown. In February of 2019, we did start to use our automatic passenger counters, and I know this has been of very great interest to you about how many people are connecting in to downtown. And I know that I came here a couple years ago and told you the results of that. It was about 2,500 people over the course of the year coming in and making sure that they stop in board in downtown. We expect that to go up with all of the development that's happening in downtown, and I'll get to a couple of exciting things that PSTA itself is working on in order to enhance the connectivity to downtown. As you are always very excited about our ridership trends, fiscal year 19 was great for us, fiscal year 20 not so much. But we did have some pretty decent ridership for fiscal year 20, about 95,000 for the annual count on the beach route, on the coastal route. And as of July of this year, we're tracking to be a little bit further ahead than we were last year, but we do expect that to pick up as the pandemic subsides. As I've mentioned before, we are excited to work with staff to bring back other partnerships that we have with the city that do help downtown, and one of those is our spring break promotional service. We last held this in fiscal year 19, and we did not do it in fiscal year 20. So that was put on hold, and together with staff, we decided not to do that for fiscal year 21 as well. But we have started meeting about next year, fiscal year 22, and do expect that partnership to move forward. So I did include some stats about the last time we did this. Again, it was very successful. We had some great wayfinding out at the beach. To connect people into downtown. The parking was in downtown. We also partnered with Amanda. She was fantastic in getting us some decals on the street in downtown to make sure that people could park in a number of places and then get to the trolleys over to the beach. In our social media marketing, we did include some downtown businesses in not just a Business of the Week post, but also some giveaways from downtown, again, encouraging people to come into downtown and spend some time here. in the reach that we had for those about 50,000 impressions for the work that we've done. But that's pretty good considering we only spent $350 on advertising. As everybody likes to see is progress. We have done this for a couple of years. We did shorten the service in 2019. In 8 weeks, we found that magical, just 8 weeks of March and April, understanding at the end of April is really where we get a lot of that ridership during that spring break service. So the coastal agreement, as we have it, as Howard mentioned, for this year is a 5% increase for the contribution from the Downtown Development Board. You see that PSEA does pick up almost 88% of the total cost of the service, and so we do find that this partnership, while it may be small in the overall service performance, it is very critical to us to have that partnership, to continue the dialogue, and make sure that you all see the value in us providing this service for you, and the value that it brings to downtown. As we start to look out to the future, we will be working on another multi-year agreement, again in concert with the cities of Tarpon Springs, Dunedin, and Pinellas County, and so we'll look forward to that. In addition, we do not ask you for an additional contribution for that spring break promotion, and we think that's part of the service that we provide to the city and to you. We do appreciate the city's contribution to that, and so I thank them again for that partnership. Backwards. Oh, there we go. So that concludes the portion that I have on the coastal route. However, I would like to tell you that this is sort of around PSTA. We like to call this the Year of Clearwater because we seem to spend a lot of time here lately, and we're very excited about some of the big projects that we have going on, not the least of which is our Clearwater Multimodal Transit Center. And as the mayor knows, we have been working on this for a very, very long time. And we were so excited to be able to apply for a RAISE grant. And that is a grant through the USDOT that will allow us to build this new facility. We have asked them for $25 million, which is the maximum that we can ask for from this grant program, and the remainder of the dollars for the $34 million investment in this project will come from the land that is available, and that is through an agreement with the city, from Forward Pinellas, who has agreed to help us with some funding shortfalls through their locally allocated dollars, and of course the Florida Department of Transportation, who is always a traditional but exceptional partner in building major infrastructure projects like this. We have been working with staff on some designs options that we will soon bring to the public about how the site will function, how many bus bays will be available there. But we're hoping to make this an iconic piece of development that is in downtown and have it complement all of the work that is happening down here and really make it a place that we can be proud of. We are more excited about replacing our Park Street terminal that I can even tell you. It is functionally obsolete and really, it's not very nice, is it? So we'd like to make this really quite lovely, and our plan is to make it LEED certified, and so as green as we possibly can afford, it will be. And last but certainly not least, I have spent a considerable amount of my own working time on the support for ferry services. So as you know, the Clearwater Ferry has been operating for a number of years here, connecting downtown to the beach, and it is now more crucial than ever for people to come out from the beach into downtown and really have an option to enjoy the entertainment and the activities that are here. And so not only will our Clearwater Multimodal Center help make that connection possible, partnering with the ferry will as well. As you know, they have had also some hard times over the last couple of years and have reduced their service to a reservation only. We've been working with Forward Pinellas on a waterborne transportation committee that includes a number of their board members on looking at what does ferry service look like for Pinellas County, but PSTA specifically has been working on how do we restart this service in Clearwater and connecting to Dunedin and to the beach. How do we restart that as public transportation, meaning something that is fixed route service, that is reliable, and that runs on a schedule? And so you will see us very shortly with some proposals on how we might do that. And then looking to the future, we will be applying for a grant for new docks as well as potential for new vessels. And so we've been working with a naval architect to see what kind of functionality we need for our new system, but how can we have these new vessels be hybrid electric and more environmentally friendly so that it's not just transportation, but it's also something that people can be proud of in terms of being in our waterways. And so we will continue to work with the cities and with the county on making sure that we can fund the operations of the service and make sure that it becomes part of our system overall and is connected for everyone into downtown. So that's really it. I know that's all I have for you, but it's a lot. It's some big investments, and we're just excited to be here, and I would love to take any and all questions that you might have. So I'll turn it over to the chair or the mayor.
Anyone have a question? I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the north station and the south station on the Jolly Trolley on the beach.
On the beach, yes.
Can you tell me where they are?
So the North Beach, what we would call the Clearwater North Marina, is on the north side of the causeway, near the Barefoot Inn. And then on the south side, that is in the marina, so that's in the marina parking lot.
So the north one, I'm still kind of fuzzy on where it is in
Right
relation
after
to.
what we call the Mandalay Channel Bridge,
Right.
which is the little hump,
Oh, okay, way up there.
right on the
Right.
right.
Okay,
There's some shelters there.
okay, I get it. Okay, well, I can tell you, I think we've been partnering now for about 11 years, and I'm very pleased that we've been participating all this time to provide the Jolly Trolley service, and I hope that relationship continues for some time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so are there any other questions from the board?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Tara.
I have a question on the 5% escalation. Why does that come to the DDB? Just curious.
All partners are paying a 5% escalation as part of the contract. When we took over from a 3-day service to a 7-day service, PSTA took on the majority of those costs. Our costs escalate at about 4.5 to 6% every year, and so we just smooth that out for the life of the contract.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Elise Woodridge, DDB attorney. You have a contract in place that renews automatically annually with 5% increases if you approve the funding request. So we don't go through the massive contract negotiation every year with the multiple parties, and the 5% was chosen across the board.
Understood. So what we're talking about now is just the formality of continuing something we've already agreed to in principle.
Correct. Can you tell me more about the ferry service?
What would you like to know?
I haven't seen it for a while. So has it completely stopped, or does it run every so often, or?
So right now they're let's do that another time. Right now the service is mostly privately funded. I believe it does have some partnership with the city, with a small stipend from the city, and some dock fees that are supplied. But primarily they're operating at a reservation only. And so if you go on their website, you can make a reservation. And so what we're trying to do is create a more formal partnership between more of the entities that enjoy their services. So it's not just the city of Clearwater, but also the city of Dunedin and Pinellas County supporting the services that we know we need to provide. Long term, I think we'd like to see much higher frequency for the services and have them run on a regular basis. So when they run, shortened hours, people can't rely on that. Or if you don't make a reservation, they don't run that trip right now. And what we want to be able to happen is for them to be very consistent, so you know that it's going to be there at 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30, and it's going to be on a timetable that you can count on.
Any other questions from the board? Any
It's also
citizen?
right now with Imagine Clearwater and the park being torn up, there's not very easy access to those docks. Parking isn't close.
But before that, I wasn't seeing much of it, if any, because I was curious. Can I take the, I just never, so only you can go on the site and get, okay.
There are some other issues I think we need to work out, but in a good faith effort, PSTA has worked with the city to supply the Clearwater Ferry with some additional signage, and so I believe maybe in the next few weeks you'll start to see a few more signs for them that are approved by the city. Signage is very important.
Okay, let's move on. Are there any other board questions? Any citizen comments? All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve the PSTA funding request of $18,465 per Amendment 2 of the executed agreement between the PSTA and the DDB.
I'll make the motion to approve, I think it's item 9651, and the $18,465 funding for PSTA.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
Caitlin seconds. Okay, so Keenan makes the motion. All right, now, is there any board discussion on this? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the groundbreaking for that multimodal facility.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are up to item 4.5, to review the special funding request for Clearwater Jazz Holiday for either 24 or 25. Both numbers are on my sheet. Go ahead, Anka.
So the purpose of this item is to request approval for the Clearwater Jazz Holiday funding request to produce 4 live music performances in downtown, Howard Smith, Sierra been assistant administrator. Got a little bit ahead of myself. The purpose of this item is to request the approval of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday funding request to produce 4 live music performances in downtown Clearwater Station Square for their Wanderlust series titled Backstage Bistro Experience. This event will be the 3rd series produced by Clearwater Jazz Holiday in Station Square Park. For the first 2 Wanderlust series, they were very well attended and activated Station Square Park and also follow COVID safety protocols. Each show will include approximately 40 socially distanced tables, catered tableside services from local downtown restaurants as food partners to the event, and live musical acts with 2 acts per night. The concert series will start on Saturday, November 27th, and continue Saturday nights until December 18th of 2021. The show times are from 5 p.m. until 10. All events tickets are pre-sold by Clearwater Jazz Holiday, with the proceeds benefiting the nonprofit Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. Clearwater Jazz Holiday will use the funding towards event production. Clearwater Jazz Holiday requests a $24,000 grant from the Downtown Development Board. The total cost of the event project is $75,000 and will generate 1,000 guests to downtown, with 200 guests attending each event. As your staff, the CRA recommends funding this special event series. The request aligns with the Downtown Development Board's 2021 work plan to fund the production of marketing of various special events throughout the DDB district area, which will increase the awareness of downtown as a tourist destination. It also supports the activation of Station Square Park. Pending board approval, Clearwater Jazz Holiday will complete a grant agreement that outlines the detail of each show and the marketing benefits for the DDB as part of their sponsorship. Funds for this grants are available in DDB's 2021 marketing budget. are available in the DDB's 2021 marketing budget. Per the DDB's funding policy, the $24,000 request is below the $75,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $250,000 marketing budget category. Tonight, to answer any questions regarding the Clearwater Jazz event, we have Gary Hollis and also Steve Weinberger, Clearwater Jazz Administration here.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you. Steve Weinberger, CEO, Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation, and Gary Hallis, who handles our event operations and marketing. So we're back. We were just here with everybody last month where we were able to report and present on the success of the Wanderlust series born out of the pandemic that occurred in the fall of 2020 and the spring of 2021. And we're able to brag about some of those successes and highlighting downtown, lifting up the music community, highlighting downtown partners. And so we're here tonight asking, pursuant to our event funding request, for another round to keep the Wanderlust tradition going in this winter. So we would do it on the end of November and then 4 dates in December, exactly how we did it last year.
There's 4 or 5 dates?
4 total dates. Okay. November 27th, and then December is the 4th, 11th, and the 18th, okay. Saturday nights.
Right.
So it's basically replicating exactly what we did in the same time last year.
Excellent. Okay, do we have any questions from the board?
Yes, I do, sir. How many restaurants do participate with this?
So Gary is probably best suited to tell you how many did, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Not a problem. And the restaurants that do participate with us, we have one primary one right back here with Clear Sky with Scott. He was there every single week for our event last year in Wanderlust. Other than that, there was a change out of individuals throughout the 4 shows that we did. Half dozen, but then also the attendees were also determined that they could call individuals in the downtown corridor and get food service delivered to them if the restaurant would deliver to Station Square Park, or they went and got and picked it up and brought it in. So it was a nice mixture of individuals that were there selling, predominantly Scott from Clear Sky, but then also other restaurant partners participating. And as I was talking with Howard just a little earlier ago, with the break room potentially coming back open, that might be an opportunity as well on the Saturday nights. I know they're predominantly not open on Saturday nights, but that might be something that they can also open up for.
Yeah, I mean, and there were typically 2 vendors at least every night in the actual event itself. And anecdotally, there were a lot of folks that would additionally call ahead, and if it wasn't delivered, they would go pick it up and bring it into it. So it was kind of nice to see.
Very good. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. Yeah, I was just going to state that the DDB has also had a very long partnership with the Clearwater Jazz Holiday, and I see it continuing into the future. So thank you, and we'll go on with our event here. There's no more questions, so are there any citizen comments? All right. I'm looking for a motion to approve the Clearwater Jazz Holiday funding request in the amount of $24,000.
I propose a motion to approve the special event funding request for Clearwater Jazz Holiday.
Okay, motion by Shahal.
$24,000.
Great. Do we have a second?
A second.
Terry seconds. And is there any discussion on this point? Very good. Go ahead.
Thinking marketing here, with people bringing their food in, maybe Uber Wander. Uber, never mind.
We're open to all kinds of suggestions.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, everybody, for the support.
Thank you, everybody.
Great. Okay. Now we have a review a special funding request for Market Marie for $12,300. Howard?
Good evening, Board. Howard Smith, Business Assistant Administrator for the Community Redevelopment Agency. The purpose of this item is to request approval of Market Marie's funding request to manage and operate 6 outdoor market events on the second Saturday of each month starting October of this year, going through to April of 2022. The outdoor market will be located at 710 Court Street with a special events permit approval and COVID safety protocols in place. The purpose of the street market is to bring local businesses, guests, and visitors to the city of Clearwater to see unique merchandise, specialty items, and also support local businesses with their purchases. Market Marie has successfully completed 4 markets previously in downtown, starting in May of this year at the same location. For each market event, Market Marie had more than 300 local vendors, which attracted approximately 500 plus visitors to each market in downtown Clearwater each month. The markets will be open to the public starting at 8 a.m. and end at 5 p.m. The request for funding will be used to support operational expenses to manage and produce 6 markets once a month for a 6-month period. Operational costs associated with managing and operating a community market, included but not limited to city permitting, professional, security, live music, sanitation, operational staff, and cleaning of the area. As your staff for the CRA, we recommend fully funding of this special event series. This request does align with the Downtown Development Board's 2021 work plan to fund the production and marketing of various special events throughout the DDB district, which will increase the awareness of downtown as a tourist destination. Pending board's approval, Market Marie will complete a grant agreement that outlines the detail for each event and also marketing benefits of the Downtown Development Board as part of their grant agreement. Funds for this grant agreement are available in DDB's fiscal year marketing budget. Per the DDB's funding policy, this $12,300 request is less than the $75,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $250,000 marketing budget. Tonight, to answer any questions that you all may have, I have Blair Valentine. She is the administrator for Market Marie. And at this time, I'll call up Blair.
Thank you all for having me. This is my first time here, but it's nice to meet all of you. I'll just have a slideshow running of some pictures that we've had from the previous 4 markets. Our first market was on, oh, by the way, I'm Blair Valentine. I know he did introduce me, but I'm the founder of Market Marie. It's an open-air market for local small businesses, featuring over 75 different vendors at each event, as well as some food trucks, live music, face painting, things for children, animals. There's something for everybody. It's at 710 Court Street, like you said, on the northwest corner of Court Street and Myrtle, on the second Saturday of every month. And the operating hours right now are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I am local to this area, and I really wanted to have a market here. And I've worked at markets previously, and it's just an awesome way to benefit local small businesses so they can, thrive and have the community have something fun to do each month. We've had a great turnout at each event. We keep growing and rearranging the map to fit more and more vendors, but our last event did have over 650 guests attend, and it's bringing great foot traffic to the downtown area, which was an important thing for me because I love hanging out in the district, and just because we're on such a visible corner, it allows people to, make their way to downtown. And if you have any questions for me, I am.
Yeah, Blair, where do people park when they?
So the address is 640 Pierce Street. It's the parking garage that is a block northwest of the lot, and it's free parking since it's on the weekends.
Very good.
Municipal Services Building parking garage.
Excellent. Okay.
Quick question. Is there a cost as a vendor?
Yes, so it's between $40 and $50 to vend there, which right now we are by far the cheapest market in the Tampa Bay area. Many markets range between $150 to $300 per event, and we are one of the largest events as well in the area. Obviously, we're an outdoor space, so we can be larger with COVID restrictions and everything, but yes.
Other questions for Blair? Okay, I think we're ready to go.
I have a question.
Oh, you do. Go ahead.
Are the downtown restaurants given an opportunity to
Yes, so I have spoken previously to, I don't want to say their first and last name in case I butcher it, but the opportunity is open if any downtown, not just restaurants, but storefronts, any local businesses that want to be a part, they have the opportunity to have a free space at the market to showcase events that are happening, or even if it's food and actually wanting to sell their own food. I have extended that, and the opportunity is still available at any time. I understand with COVID, there's low staffing right now. They might not be able to do it at the moment, but the offer is always on the table at any time. So yes.
Right. I've heard very good things about the market, so well done.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else have a question?
Yes, I do. How many locations are you operating right now?
Right now in Clearwater, this is the only location.
General area? I mean, just whole Bay Area?
So we haven't started any others yet. We have a sister market. It's not the Market Marie. That's a nighttime market, but we will do holiday pop-ups, which we've discussed with the CRA, possibly doing a holiday pop-up in the district. It's not set in stone yet, but right now this is the only market in Clearwater. We are doing a holiday pop-up in the Tyrone area, but it's just a pop-up. It's not like this where it reoccurs every month.
Are you doing any in other cities?
For the Market Marine, no.
No.
Tyrone is St. Pete, but that's only 2 times for the year. So just the city of Clearwater, and for the holiday pop-ups for the district area that aren't set in stone yet, that would be the other location, but that is looking like it might take place at night.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from the board? Do we have any citizen comments? All right, I'd like to request a motion to approve market.
Well, there's Scott.
Oh, Scott, yes.
Hi, Scott Sousa, Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association. We have several large events planned coming up over the next 6 to 9 months, and we absolutely want to include the market. I think that would be a nice addition to what we have going on downtown, give people something to do for some of those events. So we'll have something with the 12 Days of Christmas coming up. February 4th and 5th is the traditional Sea Blues Festival. It's now going to be called the Sea Walk Festival, and that will be downtown from Station Square to Osceola and spread out all in between. And then we also have a ukulele festival scheduled for April. So we would like to include the market for all those events.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, any other citizen comments? Very good. I'm looking for a motion to approve Market Marie funding in the amount of $12,300.
Motion to approve special event funding for Market Marie, $12,300.
Very good. So a motion by Caitlin. Do we have a second? Keenan? So Keenan seconds the motion. Is there any additional discussion?
I'm curious, hopefully this becomes very successful. So as it goes, any plans on where and how you can expand it into? Do we have enough space to expand?
I mean, just to expand into the district area?
Right.
So I'm not opposed to that at all. I love the district. I think that'd be a great place to have a market. Right now, just because of the visibility of the location we're at, I think it'll help us succeed more quickly because so many people going to and from Clearwater Beach will see the location and come into the downtown area, whereas they might not have just passing by to the beach. As well as we're able to fit over 100 vendors on the location we're at right now. We can fit that many vendors, but I'm not opposed to also having it there or switching it there in the future.
Well, I didn't mean change the location. I mean,
Just an additional market.
Is there room to expand?
So those are things that we're all researching right now. So using the lot to the north, we have to coordinate with the police department, and there's other kind of feeding for people experience homelessness, the other kind of things that happen on there that we're trying to figure out the schedule and timing for. Most of the CRA is under construction. Obviously, the waterfront's under construction. So we will be in that location. We're going to try to program that location until Cassandra kicks us out at the very last minute. We will keep using that corner. And, we're also asking other property owners, wherever we see other big vacant lots, right now we really need that space to do programming. And this will continue to be a policy conversation along Cleveland Street with the 400 and 500 blocks, especially because we have to keep one lane open for fire trucks. The other lane has tables and chairs. So then when we're looking at special event type activities, do those then go along Fort Harrison? Do they go along Garden? Do we move in tables and chairs occasionally? So these are all conversations that we're starting now and will continue through the rest of the year. And these are the problems that we want to have.
Yeah, good
Right?
problems.
These are, yes, please. There's so much to do. We have to find a place to put it. That's what we would like. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more board discussion, I'd like to call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations and much success.
Thank you so much for your support.
Sure. Okay, let's go on to item 4.7, appointment of a Downtown Development Board member to the Canvas Committee for the 2021 election.
Hello again, Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. I'm just close that. The purpose of this item is to request that the DDB establish the canvassing committee, which what we ask is that you appoint one person to this committee who will assist the CRA staff on October 12th at 3 p.m. at the Supervisor of Elections Office to count ballots. This member can be anybody except for our two members who are up for election this year, which is Caitlin and Festus.
Can I volunteer someone?
You can.
Terry, would you like? Do we have a volunteer? Or do we just need to nominate someone? Is there anyone that can take this on?
It's at 3 p.m. It'll be myself. In past years, it's Amanda, but I think this year it'll be Howard, and it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours max.
Keenan has volunteered.
Yes, Festus was there. Nah.
It's not that bad. I've done it.
I've got a process down, and we go pretty quick.
I'll bring the beer.
Yeah.
What day is it?
October 12th, 3
Okay,
p.m.
so-
at the Supervisor of Elections Office.
Okay, so we have a volunteer. I'm looking for a motion to approve the appointment of Keenan Kinsel to this position.
I think I propose a motion to appoint Mr. Kinsel to the rest of his life
The canvassing.
on this, on the rest of his life on this board, to be on the canvas board.
Okay, so is there a second?
Second.
Festus seconds. And so we have a motion from Shahab, a second from Festus. Is there any board discussion? Very good, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Okay, let us move forward. Old business, 5.1, the Downtown Coordination Committee update.
Eric Santiago, Public Relations and Programs Manager. The purpose of this item is for the CRA to move forward with the scope of services provided by Collaborative Labs for $4,450 to facilitate a half-day workshop on Thursday, October 7th at St. Petersburg College. The total cost of this program, including food and drinks for the invited participants from Amplify Clearwater, Downtown Clearwater Merchants Association, Clearwater Downtown Partnership, and the Downtown Development Board, to not exceed $5,000 total for the half-day workshop.
Okay, welcome, Eric. Do we have any questions from the board on this point? Who would be participating from DDB? Keenan, and so this will be an advertised, and someone will be taking minutes? Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not good with names. I'm Elise Winters, I know that one. But the lady from the college, I asked her about it. I said, "You're aware of the Sunshine Law requirements?" She said, "Yes, it'll be an open meeting, there will be minutes, and they're taking care of it. It's part of their overall cost, so you won't need to send Sandy or me."
Okay.
Okay?
And that works to have someone else take minutes?
As long as
for
we
us?
get the minutes, and they're taken appropriately, and this is apparently an organization that has done, this similar things for the city and other government entities and is very familiar with the sunshine law. I did ask her questions.
Okay.
I didn't give her a test, but, it was pretty clear that they were gonna handle that.
Okay. And, okay, and Eric, I'm curious, do you see this as a necessary expense to have collaborative labs rather than just someone else facilitating?
Yeah, I mean, we did research who else could do it, and Collaborative Labs was the most qualified and local, and they have done work for the DDB before in the past, and the city in the past as well.
Okay. Go ahead, Keenan.
We've had a couple meetings now with the organization that will be named later. And at the last meeting, she presented, Tina, I believe her name was, presented and answered a lot of questions for an hour. And they've done this with the city on occasion, and I think it's going to be it's a one-time thing. And it will get us a lot of information as to how the groups can work together on an ongoing basis and kind of streamline the thought process. I think it's, from my viewpoint, it's a very good investment.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Sir?
I'd just tell you the collaborative lab is outstanding. They have the experience to really help build consensus, keep you from going down rabbit holes, and get the focus of 4 groups coming together so that you really have a cohesive plan going forward. I've dealt with them both in government and with not-for-profits. I'd highly recommend them.
Okay.
The work product is worth the money.
Very good. So, are there? Amanda?
I did want to, and you have experienced collaborative labs. It was
Yes.
just a while ago, as
Yeah,
time
yeah.
flies. The other thing that I wanted to mention, though, is that when we started down this path of these conversations, I think it was more originally imagined as there would be an organizing meeting, and then there'd be a big meeting with a lot of people giving input about the downtown organizations and how they work together, but due to COVID, that really hasn't happened. So I would say that after this collaborative lab session, we'll want to revisit with the board what they would like their involvement to be. Because certainly, having to have a whole other public meeting every month or twice a month is a lot. It's a lot of staff time and expense. And so we'll just want to, after we go through this next session, we're going to want to touch base to say what you would imagine the DDB would like to do going forward.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what are our goals, or what do we anticipate the return from this activity? What do we hope to accomplish?
Well, Caitlin and I have sat in on a couple meetings thus far, and it's exploratory at this point, to be determined if it'll be future and how involved it'll become. But the Amplify, the Downtown Partnership, the district, and the DDB working together to forward some type of common goal, along with that's supporting the vision of the mayor and the council, I think is the game. And it certainly won't hurt to have the groups working together. And I think, in fact, Tina said everybody from the DDB could come to this event. Is that right, Eric? Or is it just going to be just the 2 of us?
So there's going to be 2 representatives from each organization, and that's really just those 2 representatives will be speaking on behalf of their whole entire organization, and just make sure that it's a streamlined conversation and that all groups are equal as part of the conversation.
But anybody can attend to witness. And right now, what we're working with Tina on is organizing the conversation really around 3 areas that continue to rise to the top as overlap between the 3 groups, which are special events, right? Funding, production, amount, kinds of special events, marketing, whether individual business marketing of the entire, downtown area, and then organizational capacity, right? So the staffing question, which I'll speak to a little bit more later to answer questions that were asked last month. But those really seem to be 3 topics that continually occur across each group. So we'll hone in the conversation a little bit around those areas, but there's also room for, really it's for these groups to who are they? How do they want to work together? That, that's the big question.
Well, I think that if there's an opportunity here to align all our purposes in the same direction and achieve some synergy, it's a worthwhile thing to attempt. And I hope it bears fruit. I think Elise had something she wanted to say.
There's been some confusion on this issue. This is not a DDB committee, this is not a DDB organization, and you all are not actually members of this group. You would have some sort of conflict, I believe, if you were. You agreed to help facilitate getting it started. You are a government entity. They are volunteer groups in downtown Clearwater. You're facilitating, helping them, and this event is this next meeting is helping them facilitate working together so that they can use the resources in downtown, one of which you are. Okay, so it's as a DDB member, you're allowed to be a member of other groups. Sunshine Law doesn't permit that. There are no laws that say you can't be a member of another group. If there's more than one of you on it, I'd like you to talk to me about how we avoid Sunshine Law problems. That's not what is happening here. You make the choice as an individual member to be a member of another group. We're not going to say you can't. All right? There are some we'd prefer you avoid if it's a criminal enterprise or something like that. But, a legitimate downtown group, you're allowed to be members. We've had chairs of this board be members of other groups, okay? But talk to me if there's more than one of you there so that I can make sure you're not having sunshine law issues. The reason this group is an open meeting is not because two individuals decided to join this group, even though they're DDB members. These are representatives that you appointed. They are DDB representatives. They are there in their official DDB capacity, and that's why it's an open meeting and why we have to do the advertising. Okay. But you all are a different kind of entity than the other members of this group. And I misnamed because you're not a member of the group. You're a facilitator at this point.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Any other questions?
So this is a one-time meeting of the two of you to kickstart this group, am I understanding?
Well, there's been several meetings already.
Already been several, that's right. And this will continue to be?
So this actual event in and of itself was intended to be more of a strategic planning session for the organizations at hand. And to the point of Elise as well, as we talked about before, it was to kind of facilitate all of the organizations within downtown Clearwater, one, working towards the same goal, and two, not replicating or duplicating efforts. So this in and of itself, this type of strategic planning is likely not to occur again or, frequently, but it was envisioned that there would be potentially quarterly, maybe more frequent at first, meetings of the various organizations just to kind of help implement this goal and this strategy going forward. But this is intended just to be a one-off.
Very good. Are there any citizen comments on this issue? Please come up and state your name, please.
Hi, my name is Lisa Lanza, and I just want you all to know I'm very supportive of everything you're doing and the other nonprofits, organizations downtown. We that live in Clearwater, I've been here since 1976. We want downtown to succeed, and we want to do everything we can. We also have ideas that we want to share with you, and I know we can share them one-on-one. But and I believe this was actually the mayor's idea, wasn't it? Didn't you suggest? Okay, I'm getting a nod. It's a great idea to bring you all together because people ask me, because they know I'm watching, who are all these groups downtown and what do they do? And it took me a year maybe two, to figure it out myself. So I'm just here to help. I'm not here to hinder, honestly. My intentions are good, and I just want to educate people so they can help and they're not confused. And whenever you have that, when the information isn't out there and people are confused, then unfortunately suspicions occur. And so the more information you get out, the more people understand what are all these groups, what are they doing, the better off we're all going to be, and the better off downtown will be, and we'll be successful. And also, in particular, the people that live near downtown, like I was just talking to a couple of people that live downtown in houses, and they live within the DDB district. And so they said, oh, I can be on the DDB? Yes. If you live in the DDB district, you don't have to own a business. You don't even have to work downtown. But if you live downtown, you don't even have to own property downtown. As long as you live downtown, you can participate. And they just didn't know, and they're interested, because if you look at Dunedin, I'm probably going to go over my time, they focused on the people that lived locally first. And they focused on the bicycle trail also. Because we met down, we used to meet here starting in 1996, my bike group. Why did we meet here? Because it was a bathroom and a water fountain. Then we eventually moved to Dunedin because that's what they had up there. We have a place now where there's a bathroom and a water fountain.
We're straying off the topic.
Okay,
Lisa.
I got 46 seconds.
We're just not on the topic
Oh,
anymore.
well, I'm on the topic in terms of downtown and focusing on the residents that live downtown and encompassing them in your conversations. That's how it all comes together. Those of us who enjoy downtown, we want to be a part of it. We want to give you ideas, and we want the feedback back and forth. Thank you.
Excellent, and thank you for your participation in the downtown. Go ahead, Elise.
One correction. Residency downtown does not qualify you for the Downtown Development Board. You have to own property, own a business, or work in downtown. Mere residency does not.
Good, thank you. Okay, so are there any other citizen comments? Okay, I'm going to request a motion to engage Collaborative Labs at a cost not to exceed $5,000 to facilitate a meeting of the so-called Downtown Coordination Committee.
I'd like to make that motion to accept. But you have to say the rest of it.
To facilitate, to engage Collaborative Labs at a cost not to exceed $5,000 to facilitate a meeting of the Downtown Coordination Committee. Okay, do we have a second? Shahab seconds, and the motion was by Terry. Are there any points to discuss on this? Does anyone want to say anything? Okay, thank you. We're going to call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Okay, 5.2, Equity Committee update. Caitlin Jamo, take the helm.
So at the outset of this, just to take a step back, the goal had been both an outreach component as well as having an event component at some point. And the idea behind that was this breaking bread event that we had talked about. Obviously, in light of COVID, that continues to maybe not be the best idea possible. So we've really focused on the side of outreach and had a number of conferences with different folks, really focused with, particularly their programming is focused on the idea of diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, obviously with a focus on downtown Clearwater. I will tell you my feedback from my one-on-ones with those groups has been, oh, I didn't know the Downtown Development Board was a thing. So a lot of it had been education in terms of, hey, we have funding, we are a source, we can be a source of funding, particularly for wonderful events that benefit downtown Clearwater. So a lot of that has been part of the outreach. And I think that that's been successful. I'm hopeful that we'll start seeing more and more events focused on DEI topics in the future. I've heard whispers of things that may be coming down the pike, so I'm hopeful that we'll see that effect. One thing we also do have coming down the pike are potential partnership with other organizations who are putting on events, because my goal, at least my goal for this committee, has not been to recreate the wheel and to have our own separate events, but rather to partner with organizations that are having events that are focused on that topic. So I'll keep you posted as those actually get confirmed. One thing that I would look for feedback, and something that an idea that had been tossed around, and it could be DDB specific or it can be in a larger event depending. But one idea had been having someone present specifically at a meeting, if that's what we wanted, specifically topics on diversity, equity, and inclusion, just a short 5-minute presentation or something like that that perhaps the DDB could take into consideration. I don't know if that's something that the board is interested in working together to get someone to come at a future meeting to talk about that, lenses that we're looking at funding requests, things we should look at in terms of our funding procedure, even though we just went through all of that. But if that's something that the board's interested in, we can continue to look at that. We could also just look externally in terms of partnering with events, but I'd look for feedback on that.
Very good. Any input from, or questions from board members? Very good. Well, we'll look forward to more developments. Okay, thank you, Caitlin. And 5.3, CRA update. Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda Thompson, CRA Director. Here. So we had the question last month, can the DDB hire a marketing person? And wanted to answer that question for you of what your options are in terms of hiring staff, what that looks like. You could hire an employee. Board members would have to comply with all employment regulations, right? So payroll, you know, any state, local, and federal regulations of directly managing and hiring an employee. And I know many of you own your own businesses, so you know what that means and what that would look like. The CRA can manage service agreements. And I'll get more into that down there. City of Clearwater, so CRA staff, we are staff of the City of Clearwater. And just like the CRA has an interlocal agreement with the DDB, the City of Clearwater has an interlocal agreement with the CRA to provide staffing. And so the City of Clearwater would not hire a person to do marketing for individual businesses. That's not something that the city would do. So when we talk about the DDB hiring a staff person, that could mean City of Clearwater hiring a staff person. So that's not an option. The DDB can provide a grant to an eligible organization to pay for a marketing staff person. And this would be what we are working on now through your funding request and what we would recommend for this upcoming year for the DCMA. And I am working with them to prepare a funding request for next week that essentially they would share the cost with you for hiring a marketing person that would report to the DCMA and work for the DCMA. And finally, the DDB could issue a request for proposals for marketing services. So we could say, you know, the DDB wants to spend $75,000 towards marketing services. We're, you know, ready to hire a consulting firm, marketing firm, whoever, to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right, for this amount of money. And then it would be a competitive bid. Then you would get responses back to that. You would review them, and then you would select a winning bid. And then the CRA staff would manage that procurement process and that service agreement. And we have lots of marketing service agreements in place. Bandwagon, Tampa Bay is awesome. 83 Degrees Media, Invest Tampa Bay. We spend not a lot, we spend the right amount of money on marketing services.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about this
I think it's pretty clear.
Very clear.
So, you know, the other question I'm getting is who can staff the DDB, right? As these groups are meeting, right, and rumors spread wildly about what can or can't happen and who can staff. The CRA currently staffs the DDB, as you know, and the tax increment financing, that increment, which is about $300,000, that goes to the CRA. The CRA returns it back to the Downtown Development Board through your interlocal agreement. So for the CRA area, for City of Clearwater, for Pinellas County, and for the Downtown Development Board, we collect your TIF, 95% of your TIF. You guys are the only ones it gets returned back to. We keep the counties and the cities for our operations. So the DDB, you guys could staff yourselves, right? You've got a chair, a vice chair, treasurer, secretary. So actually as your volunteer, you know, board members, you could do the staffing yourself. You could hire a person like we talked about before. You could contract with an organization via an RFP process or an interlocal agreement. So you have all those staffing options available to you, and the interlocal agreement, the relationship with the CRA is on an annual basis. So the CRA and DDB interlocal agreement, which you approved last month, and so did the CRA, the Board of Trustees, where do our areas overlap? You know, why does the CRA staff the DDB? Why do we return the increment to the DDB? I think this is a really valid question, right, that people would like, inquiring minds would like to know. And there's really two areas in our strategy that overlap. So the CRA strategy is creating and sharing positive stories to change the perception of downtown, increasing investor confidence, and then also placemaking and placekeeping. Where we most overlap with the DDB is marketing for all of the DDB area, which I'm gonna pull up Rosemary DeMoore's presentation from January in just a second to give you the quick list there, and special events funding. Great, all these event requests that came forward tonight. And then increasing investor confidence, business assistance grants, which you've done the signage, you've done funding for Jolly Trolley, and then special projects as they come up, say the coordination committee, the equity work. This is really where our work overlaps. And so right now, there's a lot of dual purposes in our day, right? There's things that we do that work for the CRA and for the DDB. If it ever got to a point where the DDB became a whole separate, different focus, way different from the CRA strategy, then we might have to come and say, we don't know that we have the staffing capacity to really staff and administer two different boards with two dramatically different agendas. Any questions about that so far? Okay. So just quickly here.
I have a question. If the DDB, like, say, I don't see this happening, but let's say that the CRA didn't want to provide our administrative support anymore, so we would get that budget back and hire somebody. Would that person be a DDB employee or a city employee? Or
There
who?
would still have to be an interlocal agreement for you to receive the TIF
Yes.
funds with the CRA.
But the administrative charge for
You
having
would get that back. Mhm.
But if we hired somebody with those funds, who would they work for?
They would work for you.
For the DDB, not for the
Yes.
city of Clearwater?
Correct.
Okay. And would the CRA would not administer their payroll or anything like that? That would be the DDB?
Unless we had an agreement to do so.
Yeah, I don't see that
would
happening, but
not.
I was just curious. Yeah, okay.
So right now in the activities here, because we get, and it's a lot and it's not always visible, so I understand people forget what do we do with marketing and what happens. And so this list here is everything that we spend funds on and staff time for marketing. This is all of it, and I'll email it out again so everybody has it. But right now, the DDB has a legal sub-web page, right? That's the downtown development on myclearwater.com. Here's downtown development board. Here's all, your budgets and your interlocal agreement and those kind of stuff. But we funnel everything through downtownclearwater.com. And at some point, 11 or 12 years from now, when the CRA doesn't exist anymore, someone will be owning that website. Whether that's the Downtown Development Board, whether that's another yet unnamed organization, but that downtownclearwater.com website will have to move on to somebody. I mean, maybe it would be economic development. I don't know yet, but right now we funnel everything through there and put all the information there for people to find funding and understand what's going on in the city. That's where the shared calendar is, right? Anybody can upload their event into that shared calendar, and that's really what we focus on driving people back to is downtownclearwater.com. I think what else there is. And then here's just the channels that we work through too. But I think when, you're asking, what are we spending marketing on now and how is the DDB getting the word out? This is the marketing part of it, and then the community engagement or public information part of it is when we did the postcard mailing to everybody last year saying register to vote, DDB has these funding programs you should know about, when we send out updated ballots, right, when we send out our email newsletter, right, those are the public information type things that we do. We cannot campaign, right, as city employees, we can't go knock on doors and say, you really should vote for so-and-so, and we can't go out and recruit people to run for office, but we can provide public information, and we have really amped that up, right, in the past year or two, so people are aware that you exist. And the infographic that Rosemary was working on, remember the one pager, and that'll get mailed out before the end of the year, too. So, yes.
So is this your formal termination notice that in 12 years?
Yes.
I see.
I am a planner, so we try to.
Is that a contract with the city? Is that the CRA, that ending?
So, and the mayor might disagree with me on this, but Pinellas County, so we have an agreement with Pinellas County. We just had our 15-year review, and basically the county, there's an expiration date to all community redevelopment agency areas. It's governed by state law, or it's governed by whenever they were set up with the county, because we receive county funding as well. So for ours, our agreement ends and we are set to expire. So unless the city and the county and the state approve an extension or creation of a new CRA for downtown, it just expires. With the idea being that if you have not achieved your redevelopment goals within this period of time, then you don't deserve to have that restricted funding. The tax money should just go back to the general fund and be spent wherever they're needed most.
I think it's what you guys are doing is working. So,
yes.
Can we fund a group to, just kidding.
Go ahead, Keenan.
How arduous of a process is it to keep the CRA extended or alive? Or I thought it just ended. I didn't realize it could continue on.
I'll have to get back to you on that question. It's probably more politically arduous than, paperly arduous.
It's a tough putt.
To reignite it?
Yeah, it's gonna be political.
Because
it was done once.
Well, it sets a precedent that would be difficult at the state level. I think we might be able to get it done at the county level, but I think at the state level, it creates issues.
It's a great idea. That's why Congress would never consider it for themselves.
Well, restricted funding's tough, right? It's great. We know we have a dedicated source of revenue, but that means that revenue can't be considered for anything else that needs to happen. So that's why they don't want additional restrictions on tax dollars.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
I would like to point out that she skipped over a huge portion of what they do for you. I don't know that it's in time-wise, but you have people who understand your legal requirements, making sure that you comply with your notices, your advertisings, your sunshine law, your records requests, your records retention. That, as somebody who was on the board when we were not staffed by the CRA, y'all would be doing a whole lot more work, and you'd be paying a lawyer a lot more time than you're paying me. If you didn't have somebody who was already knowledgeable in government. Now, so I just don't want you to look over the part. That administrative compliance part is huge.
Right, my focus was on the marketing, because that was the question. So
Yeah.
yes, obviously we do many, many, many more things, but in terms of our strategy and why, we've partnered for several years, that's where the overlap was the creating positive stories and increasing investor confidence.
Thank you. Okay. Chairman's report is going to be very brief. I'm done. And now, board members to be heard, beginning on my left.
We're almost done with summer, and I think we've done well. I look forward to seeing more businesses come and tell us how we can help them. If anyone's watching this, we are here to help in downtown.
Have a good night.
Ditto.
I'd like to bounce off his comment about having more people understand we're here for funding. For some reason, we don't seem to have that many people coming to ask us for funds. So I think we have to somehow take it on our part to try to create more value what we do here, and in terms of creating more entertainment, reaching out to the different members of our district. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to speak to a lot of different members of the merchants, the owners, to see how we can create more avenues for them. And for example, we should be advertising more. You know, because we have right now we have a very healthy budget. So I think we should spend more on advertising. I like the idea of them getting the market directive for the DCMA. That's very good. So I like us to not just sit on the part we have and try to use that in helping downtown. So.
Very good.
Good.
Caitlin,
Agreed with everyone.
great, sir?
I want to thank all of you that came to the official groundbreaking of Imagine Clearwater. It was brief but good. If you want to see what's going on, there's cameras now on City Hall and the library, so you can see both segments. As the groundwork is done, which should be done by November, and then we'll start to see things coming out of the ground. You've probably also read about Center City and us parting ways on the 3 parcels, the Harbor View, the City Hall, and what we call the CMA property. I think we'll find somebody that has a different concept. It was an amicable separation, but I think in the long run, it'll be a good one. So,
Very good.
I'd like to applaud the board for continuing to fund the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Wanderlust series. I went to one of the events this past year, and it was an amazing evening of music and an absolutely spectacular use of Station Square Park. And on a completely unrelated note, 55 years ago this very night, NBC broadcast the first episode of a little show called Star Trek, starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and DeForest Kelly. And everything changed in the universe. So I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Star Trek Day.
Very good. So with that, at 6:51 in the evening, I declare this meeting adjourned.